ahead and get on it here a little bit. There you go. We go all the way up to your 2 orange cones, and we're going to hit the brakes up there. So a little bit more. Stay out wide to your right. There we go. Little bit of brake. We don't need much. Now lift off your brake. Stay real wide here, almost touching the line to the blue cone. Now start your turn in left to the green. A little tighter in there. There we go. Now straighten it back up. Right side here. You want to stay right just past this cone. Stay right, stay right. Now start your left. There you go. Look ahead through the corner. Accelerate up to the blue cone as hard as you want. At the blue. Bring it back to the right side. We're looking for those 2 orange cones over here. There we go. Actually, this time we won't have to brake. Just lift off your gas. Off the gas. Make your left. Perfect. A little gas now as we come out of this right. More gas out of your left. Remember, eyes up. Keep looking ahead. Look far ahead. We're going to aim way up there. See the blue cone?
Hi, yeah, I'm back in my office again for this episode. Just give you a hint, it's going to be covering what I've done behind the wheel of a car for over the last 48 years. Let's go. Hi, welcome to another episode of Gearhead Man. Like I mentioned in the teaser, I am in my office again today for this episode, and I'm going to be talking about some of the things I've done in a car, where I've driven in a car, what kind of cars I've driven or ridden in. So let's get started on that. I've got my license when I was 15 and a half. And that would have been 1976, 1976. I got it between my freshman year and my sophomore year during the summer vacation. I took driver's training in high school and driver's education in high school. Had to take that my freshman year. And I've driven a lot of different cars over the years. I've owned a lot of different cars over the years. I've ridden in a lot of cars over the years. I've ridden in cool cars before I even had a driver's license growing up. You know, like my dad had a 63 Spider Corvair turboed. My mom had a late 60s Galaxy 500, which had the NASCAR motor in it. Later on, my dad traded the Corvair for a 68 Malibu SS. My uncle had a 68, my Uncle Rodney had a 1968 Ford Mustang California Special. You know, all the experts say that was kind of the poor man's Shelby. And it's kind of funny because CS, California Special, CS is also Carroll Shelby. So I don't know if that was an intent when they came up with that car, when Ford designed that car. But at the time, you could only buy that in a California Special that had a California dealership. And the California dealership is what took a GT Mustang and added a few custom components to it to make it into the California Special. In high school, when I was driving there, I've driven a 1977 Pontiac Trans Am. That was actually my first car. It wasn't my car. It was a Series High School coach's car, and at the time, me and my buddy Mark Watley, we worked for the athletic director, David Santos, who was also the VICA advisor, and he ran the drafting department in high school. So I knew him really well, and Mark and I were his student aides for him as athletic director. So we got to do a lot of different projects and a lot of things. And one of the things we had to do was every morning make sure that Billy Warren was there so he could attend the right amount of classes. If not, by the second period, we would have to go borrow a coach's car and drive out to his house, pick him up, and bring him to school. It's kind of crazy, huh? But one of those trips was in the 1977 Pontiac Trans Am. I was driving to Billy's house and just cruising the car, you know, one hand on the steering wheel, feeling good. My buddy Mark goes, "Hey man, how fast are we going?" And I looked down the speedometer, and to my horror, it said we were doing 120 miles an hour. Wow. I took my foot off the gas, put both hands back on that steering wheel, and hung on for dear life until the car slowed down enough. And man, those were country roads, and anybody who's lived in the rural area and driven on country roads know how crazy that is, 120 miles an hour. After we picked up Billy, I let Mark drive home. Back not home, but back to the school. I just didn't want any more of that car. But later in life, I would drive a couple Ford Mustang Shelby GT500s on a track. That was fun. Both times, all the times I was behind the wheel of a GT500. I had an instructor with me on that track, and that was kicking the butt. And one of those rides, it was filmed in an episode out at Speed Vegas. I'll put a link to that episode. Either I'm going to put it in the description, or when you're watching this, you're going to see it pop up here in the corner, and or this corner, one of the corners, and you can click on it and take a look at that episode. One time, Mark and I were going to pick up, it's a long story, I'll try and make it short, but we had to go to Sacramento to bring back a 308 Ferrari GTS, which was the same car that Magnum PI drove, that Tom Selleck drove in Magnum PI. And we had to bring it from Sacramento. We were at the fairgrounds, from Sacramento back to Modesto. And normally, if you're driving like a normal person, going from the fairgrounds in Sacramento to Vintage Fair Mall, the outskirts of Modesto on Highway 99, it normally would take maybe an hour and 10. We made it. Mark was driving over 120 miles an hour in that Ferrari, and we made it from the fairgrounds in Sacramento to Vintage Fair Mall in 45 minutes. Another trip, we're probably lucky to be alive. Over the years, I've had a lot of close calls, I call them near-death experiences involving a vehicle. I drove a lot of places. I used to have a Chevy pickup, K10, 4x4. It was a 1976 Chevy pickup. Motor was built up a little bit, and we would take that out sand dragging, and I would take it sand dragging. And one of the places we took it to for sand dragging was Hollister Hills, and they had a big event there for the sand drags, and it was sprinkling and it was crappy weather, so the track, where we were the sand drags held, was getting kind of wet and crappy, and one side of the track was good, one side of the track was really bad, and was starting to get ruts and stuff in it. So they decided, when I was up, it was my turn, they decided you would each get a left or right, you make one run, you turn around, come back, get in the opposite lane, and make another run. So my first run, I beat the guy. I was in the left lane, which was the good lane, and when I got so I won the first pass, got back in, I'm now in the right lane, and that lane was crappy. I put the truck in. We had to run it in 4-wheel drive, so I put it in low, the transfer case in low, and put it in manual or automatic. It was an automatic transmission, so I let it shift by itself. And when it went from first to second, all 4 tires broke loose. The truck turned to the right, and I was going down the track for a short distance sideways. I thought that truck was going to go over him because it was slightly lifted. I finally was able to get off the gas and correct the truck and get it back pointed again in the lane. And he won that heat. And so they take the 2 runs, they put the times together and average them, and the average time on the track, my opponent had better time, so he won. And I was white-knuckled, and I was ready to go back down the hill. Didn't want to race anymore. Mark wanted to go down the hill and get his bug, and he brought one of his Bajas, and so he got in the truck with me, and we were going down. Well, coming where the drag strip was, it was up on top of this hill in the flat area on top of this hill, so you had to kind of drive down the hill, and the dirt road was getting really crappy as well because being wet, and it was muddy, and it was kind of a bad clay mud that loads up the tires and clogs them up. And so if you have knobby tires on your truck, like I did, they would get full of this mud, and next thing you know, you have 4 slicks. So we got into an area. There was an advisor trying to help everybody down. He told me, man, my tires are loaded up with that clay mud, and he said my best chance of making it, because there was a short drive. It was kind of down. It was on the side of the hill, so you're kind of sideways a little bit at an angle. But it was very short to get to the good part of the road. So the guy told me when I'm ready to go, just floor it, let those tires get spinning, and hopefully when they're spinning, they'll clean out, and I can start grabbing fresh dirt and move forward. And hopefully move forward. But when I was first trying, every inch it seemed I went forward, I was sliding down the hill 3 or 4 inches. So that's why he told me just floor it. Hopefully they'll clear out, they'll clean out, my tires will clean out, and I'll make it. Mark, who was in my truck, got out of my truck. I said, what the hell? I feel too safe. If he didn't think it was safe to be in the truck with me, then what the hell? But I did what the guy told me. I hit the gas, put the gas pedal to the floor, and was moving forward, sliding a little bit down the hill, but I made it to that good part of the road. And man, but it was, my butt was puckered up pretty good, man. I glued myself to that seat, definitely. That was a scary time. But I made it, I've had a lot of close calls in vehicles. Been in several wrecks, really none my fault. My Mustang, I had a 2011 Mustang V6, and it was in 4 wrecks in a year and a half, all caused by other drivers who couldn't see my red Mustang, I guess. We did a lot of road trips. I drove from Modesto to Sacramento, Modesto to LA, and I drove out of high school. When we graduated high school, 4 of us were going to school together. It was myself, John Severa, David Johnson, and Candy Rice, and we were driving from Modesto to Phoenix. And that was a good road trip. I was in then a 1972 Buick LeSabre. That's what my dad bought me out of high school to go to Arizona in. That was a tank of a car. But a lot of great times, you know, going on road trips and being behind the wheel of in a car. You know, I've even taken some of my cars that I've had, like my 2010 Dodge Charger RT red badge. I took that out to grudge nights out the Strip dragway out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and raced it in quarter mile. Took my Mustang out there, did that with that. Yeah, I'd driven my Mustang and my Dodge Charger on the same tracks that Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon and all the other, Dale Jr., all the other NASCAR drivers drove their car, raced their cars on. So that was kind of cool. A lot of history in that, you know, having that done. But you know, I really love driving. I almost forgot a few other cars I've had that were pretty cool over the years. I owned a 1974 Pontiac Ventura, which had the GTO package, had a Muncie 4-speed, was called the Rock Crusher, and a positive traction rear end. And that was that for me to drive that. Not driven and never driven a positive traction rear end before, especially in a muscle car, and took me some getting used to what the car would do when the torque increased. That was a learning curve. If I say so myself. I almost ended up in a lady's rose garden, some person's rose garden, middle of the night, just down the street from my house, trying to do a burnout, leaving the around the corner. So again, I was lucky that I didn't, you know, do something stupid. It was just dumb blind luck again. I did have a 74 station wagon, bought it from the neighbor. He just bought a brand new station wagon, still had the old station wagon. It was a 1974 Dodge station wagon, and he only wanted $20 for it. Or actually only wanted $1, and I couldn't give him $1, so I gave him 20. And then I kept it for almost a month and sold it to a co-worker for 100. He kept it for a while, cleaned it up, tuned it up, and sold it to his neighbor for 500. So all of us were making a little bit of money with that car. On a $20 investment, I made $80. So that was cool. And had the Shelby pickup, I told you about that. I've had a lot of Fords over the years, Tempo, Fiesta, couple Fusions. Had the first Fusion that came out in 2006, and then I had a 2018 Fusion that was 2-liter, and it was EcoBoost, so it was like 245 horsepower, almost 300 pounds of torque. A lot of several Escorts over the years. Yeah, so I own a lot of cars, been in a lot of cars. Just wanted to make sure I covered all the cars, all the important ones that I've been in or driven. Driven 2 GT500s on a track. What else have I driven? I can't think of anything other cooler cars. Ridden in 1968 Bronco, a 1968 Mustang California Special. I mentioned both of those, I believe. several old Chevy pickups. You know, my dad owned a lot of cool cars, but when he retired and stopped driving, when he finally got to the point where he didn't want to drive anymore, he gave me his car. The car he gave me was like a late model Saturn, and I gave that to my stepson at the time because he needed a car, so we gave that to him. Got a lot of speeding tickets over the years. Used to go out cruising a lot in Modesto, California. That's where I got a lot of my tickets out there. You know, I got tickets for things like Exhibition of Power. That's if you go as fast as you can up to the speed limit when the light turns green. That's considered Exhibition of Power. Same as doing a burnout. That's kind of reckless driving category. I've been written for speeding tickets, you know, 20, 25, 30 miles over the speed limit. Like I said, you know, I was pretty stupid and dumb when I was younger. And luckily I survived all that dumbness. Oh, I had a 1965 Honda CB160. That was my vehicle in high school. I drove that all 4 years of high school. When I went to Arizona for school, I came home and my dad had sold the bike. But technically it was his bike anyhow. It was in his name. So really can't complain about that. Later on I had a dirt bike. It was a two-stroke dirt Yamaha. Like a Yamaha 400, 420 or something like that. I think that pretty much covers all my motorcycles and cars. Well, that brings the end of another episode here at Gearhead Man. I hope you liked my ramblings about, you know, my history with the automobile. It's a long history. Some good, some bad. A lot of fun, you know. And again, I just got to say, you got to be safe out there. You know, there's too much craziness going on behind the wheel of a car out on the city streets. You know, that's not the place for craziness. You know, like I said, it was luck, blind, dumb luck that I got to today from all the stupid things I did behind the wheel on the streets. And, you know, I could have easily died, I've easily killed somebody, or both, you know. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I'm still alive and still got a lot of future left to spend in the car world. So I'm going to be working on some more things. You know, I want to go back to doing a couple videos on what's new with the Mustang and a few of the other manufacturers, what's coming out, you know, with Dodge and Chrysler and General Motors and Chevrolet and all that. I really miss Pontiac. Like I said, I had a 1974 Pontiac Ventura with the GTO package, and loved that car. It was a fun car. It was a manual 4-speed. I had a Muncie Rock Crusher transmission, had positive traction rear end, and that car was definitely fun to drive. And I learned a lot about positive traction that I didn't know before. Some good, and some bad. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm glad you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, you know, please hit that red subscribe button and the bell icon, and you'll get notifications. I know I say this a lot, I'm really just joking, but there's no charge to subscribe. Nope. It's free to do. And the more subscribers I get, the more likes and shares and all that, comments, the easier it is for me to keep growing my channel. and get into events. I finally got into the SEMA show coming up here in November. I'm going to be there for a few days, and I'm going to make a few episodes from that event. I'm really looking forward to going there. It's a lot of cool vehicles, a lot of concept vehicles, a lot of cool builders. I'll be sharing all of that and bringing it to you. And I couldn't get there if it wasn't for you guys liking and promoting my channel. I very much appreciate all of you guys out there, and I look forward to more of your comments. You know, I do try to read all my comments, and at this point in the game, I'm still able to read them all and comment and respond to them. So if you have any questions, anything you'd like to know, doesn't matter what the subject, preferably something to do in the car world or with me, but I'm pretty knowledgeable. I may even want to do some episodes on, you know, some of the crazy car stuff you see in movies. What's real and what's crazy. All right, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next episode. Everyone be safe out there.